Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I just wanted to do a quick conversation on why people relapse even when they want to stop the behaviour or the addiction that they're trying to overcome. So speaking from my own experience as a recovering drug addict, I've had plenty of experience with relapse, and also plenty of experience with long-term recovery as well, and also working in a rehab. I work with addicts who are at the start of their journey, and we see it happen, and for some, relapse is a part of their journey, so why do people relapse? For me, one of the key things is when someone relapses, they put down the drink or the drug or the behaviour, but their life stays exactly the same. There's no change in lifestyle, there's no change in attitude, there's no change in their own internal beliefs, and basically they are exactly the same person, just without the crutch. And that is just a recipe for failure, because for real recovery and real change to happen, we have to change on a fundamental level. I realised in recovery that I didn't have a drug problem, I had a me problem. And it doesn't matter what vice you have, it's not so much about the vice, it's about you. So we can put down the substance or the behaviour, but then there's nothing to replace it with. We're still left with a void, we're still left with maybe a lack of direction or a lack of purpose. There's no goals or aspirations to move forward to, although sometimes there are, but it can be very unclear or very unintentional. It could maybe just be like a nice idea, but there's no actual clear picture and structure of where you want to be and how to get there. So often, the old behaviours will come back in and people relapse because there's no structure for real change there. We might have a why, we might really want to stop the behaviour, but we're not putting anything in place, and we're not necessarily willing to change. And what I mean by willing is willing to actually take responsibility and to act differently. We get very comfortable in our patterns, and to actually change takes effort, and it takes discipline, and it takes consistency, and that's hard. So to prevent relapse, what we really need is an internal shift, a change in attitude, one that is no longer seeking comfort and seeking familiarity, but one that is seeking growth and seeking purpose. Those are the two paths in life, really. There's got comfort and purpose, and if we just stop the behaviour and don't pick up anything else to fill that gap, then sooner or later we will end up relapsing, or we will pick up some other behaviour or pattern that is unhealthy and fulfilling that same role. So, practical advice then. For me, what did I do? A lot of introspection, self-reflection, so through meditation, through journaling, through taking an inventory of where my life's at, through doing that bit of inner work, looking at myself, looking at my limiting beliefs, looking at my fears and my shame, looking at where I want to go in life. So becoming very intentional, and having some kind of plan, because ideas and dreams are great, but they will stay being ideas and dreams until we actually get very clear about what we want and then start putting in some action. And another thing is finding that sense of purpose in addiction, or when your life is sort of in that state of being unfulfilled. There's a lack of purpose, a lack of meaning in life. So there's not much to get up for. So we have to really find our true selves and find what makes us alive, find what we're passionate about, and start moving towards that. Start thinking about your own journey. For me, spirituality and having faith was a massive part of my journey, and I think there is a return to spirituality more and more now within the modern day, and I think it's needed, because this life is much more than just a material existence. There are spiritual realities that we all are at the mercy of, whether we're conscious of it or not. And I suppose the trick is to become conscious of that and find your own soul's purpose. And that's another reason why we might feel a sense of lacking or a sense of void that makes us want to use drugs or drink or use vices, is because deep down we know that there's more. Deep down we know that we're meant for more, but we just don't have the framework to understand. We don't have the guidance to be able to start moving forward with that. And we know deep down that we're not fulfilling our calling. So we distract ourselves, we avoid, we try to just numb ourselves, because then we don't have to face the reality that takes responsibility and challenge and growth and hard work, and to look at those parts of ourselves that are uncomfortable to look at. So finding sense of purpose is massive, and finding a way of giving back your gold, because everyone has gold. Everyone has individual experiences and talents and perspectives that only they can offer. So for me, it's about finding out what that really is, and offering that to the world. And I feel this is how you start to begin your journey. So yeah, just to summarize, we need something to replace our vices, and it's not something externally outside of us. It's that connection with ourselves internally. It's the sense of purpose, and it's the sense of moving towards a better version of yourself. So if you're struggling with addiction or relapse or unhelpful behaviors, destructive patterns, my whole thing about this channel is self-mastery, becoming who you're supposed to be, and basically unlocking your full potential. So give me a like, give me a follow, feel free to reach out and message me. I'm happy to speak to you one-to-one, just on a personal basis. If you need advice or guidance, or just want to ask questions, that'd be much appreciated from me as well. So appreciate your time for listening, and I'll see you soon.